Hey everybody, you ever wonder what makes railroads tick? Well, I got to thinking that prior to my going to work for the railroad, I just figured that if you worked for the railroad, you either drove trains or you drove spikes, which is to say you worked on the tracks. I didn't know any different. When I applied to the railroad in 1979. I just saw an ad in the Bakersfield, California that said they were hiring signalmen. I had no idea what a signalman was. I thought maybe he was the guy that stood on the caboose and waved the lantern or something. I'm serious. That's not trying to be funny. I couldn't think of anything else the signal department might be. As I found out when I went to work here, there are a lot of different things that make the railroad work, a lot of different departments, a lot of different things that have to take place to keep trains running. And I mean, obviously, it's a huge corporation, Union Pacific, and it's like all other major railroads. They have their upper management, and the headquarters of Union Pacific is in Omaha, but they have large headquarters for different regions. My particular region is in Roseville, and our director works out of there, and my manager works out of Beaumont. My former manager worked out of Stockton, so I had very little interaction with my bosses. But anyway, various departments in upper management. There's the law department that takes care of all things legal that involve Union Pacific, no matter what they are. Environmental, EEO. That upper management is also very diverse. But I'm not going to get into all that because I'm not involved in all that. The departments down where I interact are the operating department and the engineering department. The operating department is the train department. They're the engineers, conductors, switchmen, yardmen. They operate the different types of trains we have, which we have basically 4 different types of trains. We have the high priority through trains, which are the Z trains and I trains, the double stack containers you see, auto carriers, grain trains, any train that has all the same kind of cars that are all going to the same place. And then we have the manifest trains that are the ones made up of different kinds of cars, and they'll be taken to a yard and broken up into their various, make up other trains, like down in Colton at the hump yard, which I did the video on a while back. You can go back and look at that one too, the West Colton hump yard. But anyway, there are work trains which go out on the various, wherever they're needed. They lay rail alongside the track, the ribbon rail trains. Any work that needs to be done, they have cranes, Brant trucks. They have pick up ties, pick up plates, tie plates, anything that needs to be done that they can do from the track. Those are the work trains. And they have the locals that run out of yards and go out on branch lines and switch cars out of industries and bring them back into the yards. But anyway, that is that part of the operating department. Then there's the car department. Those are the guys that work on trains. They, as I showed in the West Colton video, the people who work on the engines, they prepare them to go out on the road, make sure they're clean, have the water they need, and whatever supplies they need. The car department is responsible for that. They do, as again in the West Colton video that I put up, they have the car repair facilities. Here in Bakersfield, there are only a couple of carmen. They do minor stuff, minor repairs, fuel engines, things like that. But down in Colton, they actually do major car repair, changing out wheels, axles, trucks, whatever needs to be done. And so that's the operating department. There are probably other aspects of the operating department of which I'm unaware. But the engineering department is the department that the signal department falls under. That is encompasses the maintenance of way, which is the track department, and they're the ones, obviously, they work on the tracks. They lay the rail, they change the rail out. They're the ones you see generally when you see one of the pickups or trucks that go up and down the tracks. Those are generally guys in the track department, track inspectors, track supervisors. Sometimes they use the big gang trucks to access locations that they can't get to from the road or the right of way. The big gangs you see out there that are changing out rail or changing out ties, doing the big tie projects, that's part of the maintenance of way, and they're responsible for the track structure, and they do the construction of it, and they also do the maintenance of it. And then there's the signal department, which I'm in. We have signal construction and signal maintenance. The construction department are the ones who go out and install things. They build signal systems, they install them, they bury the cable, stand the signals up, crossings, install all that. The cantilevers you see, the gates, they install all that when it's new, or if it's being upgraded. We upgrade crossings pretty regularly. We upgrade signal systems. We recently did the huge PTC, Positive Train Control project, and the construction side worked on that for years and finally got it all installed and cut over. And cut over, when you do cut something over, that just means you put it to work, test it, make sure everything's working properly. And you have the signal maintenance department, which I'm in, and we're responsible for the maintenance and testing of all the equipment we have, crossings, signal systems, wayside detectors, those things that I will be doing some pieces on about how those parts of the signal system work. We have the communications department as part of the engineering. They're the ones that are responsible for all the communication systems within the railroad, from the radios in our trucks to radios at facilities. The PTC, the Positive Train Control, is actually not a signal system, it's a communication system. It's tied into the signal system, and when the system tells a train to stop, it's the radio that actually does that. It sends out a signal to the locomotives and shuts them down, or applies the brakes if they get by a red signal or a slow order or a crossing order. But anyway, we can get into a whole other thing about PTC in another segment. But they are responsible for them. We have radio facilities that, our own transmitting stations up on peaks around here. The closest one to Bakersfield is a place called Pampa Peak, which is northeast of town, out in the hills, northeast of, out there north of the dump, out there by the landfill, up in the hills there. But anyway, we also have the electrical department that falls under engineering. They're obviously the ones that deal with our electricity, anything from 110 volts up to up on the mountain. We have some 7,200 volt systems. They take care of all that, and I mean everything from changing light bulbs in offices to installing and maintaining the high voltage facilities we have. All of our locations have breakers and electrical things. Anything that goes wrong with that stuff, those guys will come out and fix. We also have the bridge department. It used to be bridges and building, the B&B, but we no longer build our own facilities or repair anything that goes wrong with them. That's all contracted out, but we do still have the bridge department, and that's exactly what it implies. They build bridges, they maintain them, they make sure they inspect them and make sure everything's hunky-dory with the bridges. And we have a lot of bridges, everything from the little 10 or 15 foot long culverts that go over little irrigation ditches to the bridges over the rivers and canyons around the system. But anyway, I just thought that I would let everybody know that the railroad is a diverse place, and there are a lot of things going on, a lot of people out here doing a lot of things. So maybe next time you see somebody doing something out there along the tracks, you'll have a little bit better idea of what they might be doing. But anyway, that's all I got. You guys take care. Like, subscribe, share, and be well. See y'all later.